The voicemail notification blinked on my phone. I stared at it for a moment before pressing play. Dad, it's me. Listen, I need to talk to you about something important. Can you call me back when you get this? It's about the cabin. The cabin. My chest tightened. That rustic lakefront property 3 hours north of Seattle had been in our family for 42 years. I built it myself the summer after Jennifer was born, back when my construction business was just getting off the ground. Every board, every nail, every window frame. I installed them with my own hands, while my wife packed picnic lunches and our baby daughter napped in a playpen on the porch. I called back immediately. Hey, Dad. Jennifer's voice came through, bright and casual. Thanks for getting back to me so quick. You said it was about the cabin. Is everything all right? Did something happen to the structure? Oh no, nothing like that. Actually, Mark and I wanted to ask you something. We've been thinking since you barely use the place anymore, and we're up there almost every weekend. Would you be okay if we took over managing it? You know, handle the maintenance? Keep an eye on things? I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. Jennifer was 34 now, married to Mark for 6 years. They both had good jobs. She was a marketing director. He worked in tech. Responsible people. And she was right. Since my wife passed 3 years ago, I hadn't been able to bring myself to visit the cabin. Too many memories. That sounds wonderful, sweetheart. I'd really appreciate that. The place could use someone giving it proper attention. Perfect. We'll take great care of it, I promise. Oh, and Dad? We're planning a little getaway up there next month for our anniversary. 6th year. That's wonderful. You two enjoy yourselves. 6 weeks later, I was driving through northern Washington on a Tuesday afternoon. My brother Tom lived about 40 minutes past the cabin, and I was heading up to help him with a deck repair. As I drove past the turnoff to the lake, something made me pause. Why not stop by? Check on how Jennifer and Mark were maintaining the place. Maybe it would feel different now. Less painful. Maybe it was time. I turned onto the gravel road leading to the cabin. As I got closer, I noticed several cars parked along the access road, unusual for a weekday. Then I saw it. A professional-looking wooden sign at the end of my driveway. Whispering Pines Retreat. Luxury lakefront getaway. My hands gripped the steering wheel tighter. I pulled into the driveway and got out. The cabin looked different. New landscaping, professional outdoor lighting. A hot tub on the deck that definitely wasn't there before. The front door opened, and a couple in their 30s walked out, laughing, pulling roller suitcases. "Excuse me," I said, walking toward them. "Can I ask what you're doing here?" The woman smiled. "We just finished our stay. This place is incredible. Are you the next guests?" This is my property." "Who arranged your stay?" "Property." "Who arranged your stay?" Her smile faded, confusion crossing her face. "We booked it on Airbnb 3 months ago. Through the owner, Jennifer Morris?" The ground seemed to shift under my feet. "Airbnb? Yeah. It wasn't cheap, $850 a night, but totally worth it for our anniversary. The owners were great, really responsive." She pulled out her phone. "See? Here's the listing. Family-owned cabin. Professionally managed. Sleeps 8. I looked at the screen. There were dozens of photos. My cabin. My furniture. My father's antique fishing rods on the wall. And there was Jennifer, smiling in the profile photo labeled, "Your host." The couple noticed my expression and quickly finished loading their car, mumbling uncomfortable goodbyes. I sat on the porch steps, my mind racing. I pulled out my phone and searched for the listing. It was all there. 5-star reviews. Jennifer is an amazing host. The cabin exceeded all expectations. Can't wait to come back. I scrolled through the calendar. The cabin was booked solid. Weekends, weekdays, holidays. I did the math in my head. If she was charging $850 per night and the place was booked even half the time, my daughter had been running a rental business out of my cabin. For how long? I scrolled back through the reviews. The oldest one. Was dated 18 months ago. 18 months. My phone rang. Jennifer. Hey Dad, something weird just happened. I got a notification that someone left a review but mentioned meeting the owner on site. You didn't happen to stop by the cabin today, did you? The casualness in her voice. Like this was just a minor inconvenience. Yes, Jennifer. I stopped by my cabin, and I met your guests. The ones who paid you $850 to stay in my property. Silence. Dad, I can explain. How long? What? How long have you been renting out my cabin? Another pause. About 1.5 years. Look, before you get upset, just listen. You figured you'd make money off my property without telling me? We've put a lot of money into it, Dad. The hot tub, the new deck furniture, the kayaks, the upgraded kitchen. We've invested thousands to make it rentable. Rentable? I never asked you to make it rentable. You asked to manage it, to maintain it, not to turn it into a business. Dad, you're being dramatic. We've taken great care of the place. It's in better shape now than it's been in years. And honestly, all the rental income has just been covering our costs anyway. The mortgage on our house, Mark's student loans. I don't care about your mortgage, Jennifer. This is my property. Property I built with my own hands. Property that has been in this family for 4 decades. Technically, you said we could manage it however we saw fit. My breath caught. I said you could maintain it, handle upkeep, not profit off it. Well, maybe we interpreted it differently. Look, we can talk about this later. I have guests checking in tomorrow, and I need to make sure everything's ready. Cancel them. What? Cancel tomorrow's guests. Cancel all of them. This ends now. Dad, we have bookings through next summer. We can't just cancel. Do you know how bad that would be for our rating? We could get kicked off the platform. Your rating? Your platform? This is my cabin. Fine. You want us to stop renting it out? Then you take over the $3,200 monthly expenses. The insurance, the utilities, the property tax, the maintenance, the cleaning service. We've been covering all of that. My jaw clenched. $3,200 a month? For a cabin that size? It's not just the cabin anymore, Dad. We upgraded everything. Premium cable, high-speed internet, professional cleaning after every stay. If you want luxury amenities, they cost money. I never asked for luxury amenities. I built that cabin to be simple. A place for family. Yeah, well, times change. Look, I have to go. We can discuss this later. When you've calmed down. She hung up. I sat there on the porch of my own cabin, feeling like a stranger. This place where I taught my daughter to fish, where we roasted marshmallows and told ghost stories, where my wife and I spent our 20th anniversary. My daughter had turned it into a business. Without asking, without telling me. I drove to Tom's house in a daze. When I told him what happened, he just shook his head. I hate to say it, but this is kind of on you, brother. What? You've been her safety net her whole life. Remember when she was 22 and quit her first job because her boss was too demanding? You paid her rent for 6 months. When she and Mark wanted to buy a house they couldn't afford, you gave them $60,000 for the down payment. When her car broke down, you bought her a new one. You've taught her that your money, your property, your resources, they're all just extensions of her lifestyle. I wanted to argue, but I couldn't, Tom continued. She didn't ask permission to use the cabin because she's never had to ask permission for anything. You've always just given her whatever she wanted. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the reviews. Jennifer is an amazing host, but she wasn't hosting them in her property. She was hosting them in mine. The next morning, I called my attorney, Richard Moss. I'd known him for 30 years. Richard, I need to understand my legal standing here. Can my daughter rent out property I own without my permission? Absolutely not. If the deed is in your name, she has no legal right to operate a business on your property. You could pursue this criminally if you wanted. It's essentially fraud. I don't want to prosecute my daughter. I just want this to stop. Then you need to send her a formal cease and desist. I'll draft something. She needs to immediately halt all rental activity and cancel any existing bookings. If she refuses, you can move to eviction proceedings. Eviction? She doesn't live there. She's operating a business there. Same principle applies. And given she's been collecting income from your property without authorization, you have a strong case. 2 days later, I drove back to the cabin. The guests who were checking out that morning looked startled when I explained I was the actual owner and that there had been an administrative error with their booking. I refunded them myself, in cash, and sent them on their way with apologies. Then I had the locks changed. I was inside, going through the cabin, when my phone started ringing. Jennifer. I didn't answer. She called 4 more times. Then Mark called. Then Jennifer texted, "Dad, what the hell? The guests are saying you kicked them out? And changed the locks?" I replied, "Check your email. My attorney sent you a formal notice. All rental activity must cease immediately." My phone rang again instantly. This time I answered. "You sent me a legal notice?" Jennifer's voice was shaking with rage. "I'm your daughter, and this is my property. Do you have any idea what you've just done? We have 47 bookings over the next 8 months. That's over $85,000 in income we're going to lose. Not to mention the damage to our Airbnb rating. We could get permanently banned from the platform. Then you should have thought about that before turning my family cabin into your personal ATM. Our personal dad, we invested over $30,000 into that place. The hot tub alone was 12 grand. You owe us that money." "I owe you? I didn't ask you to install a hot tub. You did that to increase your rental income. We did it to make the property nicer. For everyone. For you. Don't lie to me, Jennifer. You did it for profit. And you know what? If you've truly spent $30,000 on improvements, you can take me to small claims court and try to prove it. But I guarantee a judge is going to want to see where the rental income went. How much have you made off my cabin?" Silence. "How much, Jennifer? I don't have to answer that." "No, you don't. But here's what's going to happen. You're going to cancel every single booking. You're going to remove the listing from Airbnb. And you're going to return the keys. Oh, wait. You don't have keys anymore. Do you? Because I changed the locks. This is insane. Mom would be horrified by how you're treating me." The mention of my wife, her mother, hit me like a physical blow. I took a breath. "Your mother would be heartbroken that you turned the place we built into a transaction. That cabin was supposed to be about family, about memories, about legacy, not about $850 a night. You're living in the past, Dad. That cabin was sitting there rotting. We gave it new life. You gave it a price tag. I can't believe you're doing this. After everything we've done for you, everything you've done for me, name one thing." The pause told me everything. "You know what? Fine. Keep your precious cabin. We don't need it. We don't need you. Mark's parents actually appreciate us. They help us without holding it over our heads. I've never held anything over your head. I've given you everything you've ever asked for. That's the problem. Thanks for watching. And like for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. The problem is, you're a bitter old man who can't stand seeing his daughter succeed. Succeed? You built your success on my property without my knowledge or consent." She hung up. I sat in the cabin, my cabin, and looked around. It did look nicer. The new furniture was quality. The kitchen had been updated. The bathroom had heated floors now. But none of it felt like mine anymore. She'd erased the history and replaced it with a business. Over the next week, my phone filled with messages. Most were from Jennifer and Mark, alternating between anger and attempts at guilt. "Do you know how much stress you're causing us? We're going to have to dip into our savings to refund all these guests. Mark's parents said they've never seen anything so cruel from a parent. You're choosing a building over your daughter." But some messages came from other sources. My sister called. Confused. Jennifer said, "You're kicking her out of the cabin? Over some misunderstanding? Tom's wife texted. Just heard from Jennifer. There's always two sides. Hope you two can work it out. Jennifer had gotten to them first, shaped the narrative, made herself the victim. I sent a group email to my family with the facts. The unauthorized rental business. The 18 months of secret income. The refusal to stop even when confronted. Tom called immediately. I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it was that bad. My sister was quiet for a moment, then said, "You know, last Thanksgiving she mentioned something about a property management side business. I thought she meant she was helping other people manage their rentals. I didn't realize. She was managing mine without telling me." 3 weeks passed. Jennifer didn't call. I spent that time at the cabin, slowly removing the commercial touches, the professional signage, the binder full of house rules for guests, the lockbox for key exchanges. I found a folder in a drawer. Profit and loss statements. My daughter had kept meticulous records. In 18 months, she'd made $127,000 in gross rental income from my cabin. Even accounting for her claimed $30,000 in improvements and the monthly expenses she'd mentioned, she'd cleared at least $50,000 in profit. $50,000 from my property. Without ever telling me. I was sitting on the porch when a car pulled up. Jennifer got out, alone. She looked thinner, tired. "Dad, we need to talk." I nodded to the chair beside me. She sat down, not looking at me. "Mark's parents offered to help us with the refunds. They think you're being unreasonable, but they don't want to see us suffer financially. That's kind of them." I told them no. I looked at her, surprised. I told them this was our mess to clean up. She took a shaky breath. "I've been doing a lot of thinking. And I talked to a therapist. She asked me when I started seeing your things as my things. And I couldn't answer her." "Jennifer." "No, let me finish. You've always been so generous. The money for college, the down payment, the car, everything. And somewhere along the way, I stopped being grateful and started feeling entitled, like your resources were just available to me. Automatically." She wiped her eyes. "When you offered to let us manage the cabin, I genuinely thought you'd be happy if we made it profitable. I thought I was being smart, entrepreneurial. I told myself I was helping you by keeping the place active and maintained. But you never asked if that's what I wanted." "No, I didn't. Because somewhere deep down, I knew you'd say no, and I wanted to do it anyway. So I just didn't tell you." She looked at me finally. "That's theft, isn't it?" Even if I justified it in my mind, I didn't answer. "I'm sorry, Dad. I'm truly, deeply sorry. Not because I got caught, not because it's costing me money, but because I violated your trust. And I turned something meaningful into something transactional." We sat in silence for a while, watching the lake. "I canceled all the bookings," she said quietly. "Took the listing down. We lost our superhost status and got some nasty reviews from angry guests. But that's what we deserve. And I calculated the actual net profit we made, $52,000 over 18 months. I'm going to pay you back. It'll take a while on a payment plan, but I'll do it. Jennifer, please let me do this. I need to make this right." I thought about Tom's words, about always being her safety net, about never letting her face real consequences. "Okay, we'll work out a payment plan." She nodded, tears streaming down her face now. "I don't expect you to forgive me right away, or maybe ever, but I want you to know that I understand what I did was wrong. Deeply wrong. I appreciate you saying that." She stood to leave, then paused. "Do you remember that summer when I was 7? When we first came up here, and the cabin wasn't even finished yet? We didn't have electricity, so we used lanterns, and we cooked hot dogs over a fire, and you taught me to identify constellations." I remembered. "You said it was like camping, but better, because we built it ourselves." I forgot that feeling. The pride of building something, not buying it. The value of creating memories, not income. She looked around the cabin. "I'm going to teach my kids that. You will. And you'll be a good mother. I hope so. Because I have a lot to learn about gratitude and boundaries and the difference between generosity and entitlement. After she left, I sat on the porch until the sun set over the lake. I thought about my wife and what she would say about all this. She'd always been the firm one, the one who insisted on consequences when I wanted to just smooth things over. You can't rescue her from every mistake, she'd told me once. Sometimes love means letting them fall. I'd let Jennifer fall, and she'd gotten back up. Maybe there was hope after all. The next morning, I drove back to Seattle, but I had one stop to make first. Mark and Jennifer's house was a beautiful craftsman-style home in a nice neighborhood, the one I'd given them $60,000 to purchase. Jennifer answered the door, surprise on her face. "Dad, I have something for you." I handed her an envelope. She opened it, confused. Inside was a document. "What is this?" "A deed transfer. For the cabin. It's yours now." Her face went pale. "Dad, no. I can't accept this. Not after everything. Let me finish. It's yours, but with conditions. You cannot rent it out commercially. You cannot sell it. You'll maintain it properly. And most importantly, you'll use it the way it was meant to be used for family, for memories, for your future children to learn to fish and identify constellations. Dad, if you violate any of these conditions, ownership reverts back to me or to Tom's children when I'm gone. The deed has legal covenants attached. Richard made sure of that." She was crying now. "I don't deserve this." "No, you probably don't. But grace isn't about deserving. Your mother taught me that." I stepped closer. "You hurt me, Jennifer. Deeply. And it's going to take time for that trust to rebuild. But you're my daughter. And that cabin was always meant to be passed down. I'd rather give it to you now, with clear boundaries, than have you wonder about it after I'm gone. I'll take care of it. I promise. And I'm still paying you back the $52,000. I know you will." As I drove away, I felt lighter than I had in weeks. Jennifer had made a terrible choice. But she'd owned it. Apologized, genuinely, and now she had a chance to do better. Sometimes the hardest part of love isn't saying yes to someone. It's saying no. It's holding them accountable. It's letting them experience the weight of their choices. But maybe, just maybe, that's when real growth happens. 6 months later, I received a photo on my phone. Jennifer and Mark at the cabin. The hot tub was gone, they'd sold it. In its place was a simple fire pit made of stones from the lake. The caption read, "First campfire of the season. Remembering why this place matters. Thank you for the second chance." I smiled and saved the photo. Some things are worth more than money. Some places are worth more than profit. And some relationships are worth fighting for, even when it means fighting against the very person you love most. That's what my wife would have said. And she would have been right.